How's it going, everybody? Chadley here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a flak Nukem update. Now, when the 4th skill trees came out, there was definitely some things to change with this because we were also seeing some changes in some other areas, like fake bursting is no longer a thing, so we have to make some changes to our anointments. But the main change for this build is going to be dominance. This is going to help us get a lot more damage, and I will explain that later in the video. But otherwise, let's go ahead and jump right into the weapons for this build. So first off, I really like the prompt critical. I definitely prefer a ×3 version. And then otherwise, all of your weapons for this build are going to use the URAD anointment. So while under 50% health, deal 150% bonus radiation damage. This is just an overall huge damage boost. And as opposed to the Gamma Burst, which is actually less radiation, we're also never really getting shot when using this build, so there's really no point of having our health gate with this build, so that's why we are using the URAD anointment. And then otherwise, you guys can use basically whatever you want. This is just my preferred set of weapons. And then our second weapon is the plasma coil. This comes from Arms Race, and just get a URAD version and you guys will be dealing ridiculous amounts of damage. It is element locked to shock and radiation, but it really does not matter. You can shoot at armor with this weapon and it is going to destroy it. Now, for the big beefy armored targets like Wotan and stuff like that, I do definitely prefer a light show with the URAD anointment. Now, you guys can use the Monarch. If you guys are just solo bossing, you're not doing like takedowns or stuff like that, then go ahead and throw on a Monarch. It's going to be a little bit quicker than the light show in killing them, but for the most part, I do like the mobility that the light show offers. And then finally, you guys can use basically whatever you want, but I like the Plague Bearer just for really quick clear speeds, especially on areas like the Maliwan takedown bridge. There are just a ton of enemies, and this is going to allow you to kill basically all of them in a couple shots, and it's definitely a really, really nice weapon to have with this build. But like I said, use whatever you guys want, as long as it has the URAD anointment. Now, the only shield that we're going to be using with this build is going to be front loaders, because this is going to allow us to get the URAD anointment active, and also is going to let us use a pearl. This is just overall going to be our best damage option here with this build. And then as our anointment on the shield, just use a bonus element. I have played around with a couple of the different anointments since we can't activate this by fake bursting or anything like that anymore. So I have found that bonus elements for when your Gamma Burst does run out is definitely pretty helpful for the times that it does. I've played with like shield break anoint and stuff like that. Most of the time when your shield breaks, you will end up going down. And also, a lot of our weapons are not really a hard-hitting one-shot weapon. The only one that we're really using is the Plague Bearer, so that's really the only one that would help out for the most part. But definitely, I think the bonus elements are the way to go on there. And then for our grenade, we're going to be using a Hunter Seeker for a couple reasons, and then you guys are also going to want the on-grenade throw anointment. This is definitely going to be a huge damage burst, so make sure you guys are throwing these every 6 seconds, and you will be able to keep that damage up. Now, a couple of the reasons that we are using the Hunter Seeker is one that you guys are probably familiar with, and that is proccing head count and getting our Gamma Burst back quicker when our Gamma Burst does run out. But also, with the dominance change, as long as you guys are aiming down sight, our Hunter Seekers can crit force and actually dominate enemies, which is really, really nice. And this is a really great way of proccing dominance and keeping enemies from targeting you. Now, for our class mod, when you guys are using dominance, we are going to be using a Cosmic Stalker for most of the time. Unless you're solo bossing, you're going to probably switch over to a Bounty Hunter. But for like takedowns and general play, the Cosmic Stalker is going to be the way to go. Now, if you guys really just don't want to get shot ever, you still can use a Red Fang, but you are going to see a damage loss with this class mod. Now, if you guys do not have the Pearl or do not want to use the Pearl, even though it is our best damage option, you can use an Atom Bomb or a Snowdrift. It's completely up to you. And then also, if you guys are running not the Pearl, you can actually make these deathless as well and change out your shield. You can put on like Old Gods or anything like that. But for the most part, front loader and Pearl is going to be our best option. So now let's go ahead and look at our skill trees. I'm going to have all the trees up right here if you guys want to take a look and copy it into your own game. So go ahead and pause here if you need that. But otherwise, obviously, with this build, we are going to be using Gamma Burst. Now, our augments for Gamma Burst are going to be Empathic Rage and Endurance. This is going to help our Gamma Burst last longer. But if you guys are moving around a lot and you're actually like moving on in the map before your Gamma Burst goes away, don't be afraid to swap out Endurance on the fly to Burst Aid. And this can help you keep you from dying to dots and stuff like that. And you can also change it out for Atomic Aroma, but you're going to be spreading radiation enough with your URAD anointment that it's not really going to matter. So I would preferably use Burst Aid, but definitely Empathic Rage and Endurance are going to be your two go-to augments. And then let's go ahead and go through our skills. So first off, Persistence Hunter, and then 1 point into each Ferocity and Go for the Eyes so we can get down to the next tier. And then 5 points into Frenzy, 3 points into He Bites. This is going to help us proc up Frenzy. And then 1 point into Who Rescued Who so we can keep our pet alive a little bit better. And then 2 points into Hive Mind, 1 point into Psycho Head on a Stick so we can get our pet moving a little bit quicker. And then 5 points into Barbaric Yop to boost our pet bonuses, 3 points into Pack Tactics. And then finally, the main change for this build is going to be Dominance here. So make sure you guys are aiming down sights fairly often with this build. It's going to help you guys keep enemies dominated and keep the fire off of you. So this is definitely something you need to learn with this build. Now for our second main tree, this is definitely pretty standard, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this tree. Otherwise, 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker, 3 points into Leave No Trace, 2 into Second Intention, 5 points into Hunter's Eye, 3 into Head Count, 3 into Big Game. We have a 3 boost from our class mod, our Cosmic Stalker, and then 3 points into Most Dangerous Game, 1 point into Galactic Shadow, and finally 1 point into Megavore. And then our pet is going to be the Spider Ant Scorcher. Now finally for our last tree, we're going to do 5 points into Furious Attack here, 5 points into Overclocked for the fire rate, and then finally 1 point into Lick the Wounds so our pet can get us up if we do happen to go down with this build. So as always with our builds, I'm going to run you guys through the start of the Maliwan True Takedown and just show you guys how exactly I play this build. Now, for the most part, I do just end up mobbing with the prompt critical, and then otherwise, I just make sure my Gamma Burst is down. Obviously, we're not using the Red Fang anymore, but it's still nice to have enemies shooting at our pet, and obviously, we get that damage boost from Empathic Rage and all that good stuff. So definitely make sure Gamma Burst is down when you can have it out. But otherwise, just go ahead and aim for your crits, and you should be good to go. A lot of the enemies are going to be dominated at basically all times, especially when you're making sure you're throwing your Hunter Seekers and just making sure you're aiming down sight. You guys will be good to go. Now, something to note when you are looking at your minimap, the dominated enemies will turn from red to white. So just keep that in mind. Then obviously we can use the Plasma Coil if we really want to. This thing is just absolutely disgusting. It does not matter what you're shooting at. The Plasma Coil will destroy it, and you'll be able to move on very, very quickly. And then otherwise, we do have our Light Show for our armored bosses, and then obviously the Plague Bearer for just super fast clear speeds. So I was going to show you guys the Kraken kill, but it actually was basically dead. It had like 2 HP by the time I was done clearing mobs. So yeah, you honestly don't even have to look at a lot of the enemies with the Hunter Seekers and like Plague Bearer and that kind of stuff. You will just be destroying them. So sorry about that for the no Kraken kill this build video, but you guys get the idea. Just use whatever mobbing weapons you want and just make sure you are aiming down sight and hitting those crits so you can dominate the enemies, and you guys just will basically never end up getting shot. Yeah, guys, that's basically our updated Flak Nukem. It feels really good to be using a not Red Fang on this build. Once again, we used to use a Bounty Hunter way back in the day, but now we obviously have the Cosmic Stalker change with Interplanetary Stalker and all that good stuff. So this build is definitely doing better than ever. So definitely give this a try if you guys find it interesting. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. Also consider subscribing for more Borderlands content. Hopefully I'll catch some of you guys over on stream. We basically stream every single night right around 8 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully I will see you guys over there. But I hope you all have a fantastic day. And I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.